Just a quick recap.
I'm Owen.
I built a No Weld bolted recumbent trike, drove it down some lanes, through some deep mud and into a lake, and thoroughly broke it. Then I decided to fix it again.
Good morning. I thought I'd keep the momentum up now and try and do it once a week. I managed to actually get a Rode microphone and a GoPro 2. The GoPro 2 is good because it's got a direct microphone input. So what I've done is I've modified the case a little bit to get some cables in. I've changed the distance between the cycle computer pickup and I've fitted the cycle computer pickup onto 2 spokes. So that ought to give a slightly better reading. I'll stop now, connect you up, and we'll go for a ride.
Just before I set out, I lifted the bike up to get around the car and noticed some movement in the frame of the bike. The main bottom joint between the 2 beams had worked itself loose on the previous ride. I tightened this up before continuing on the cycle. No footage of this, but this is roughly what was happening and can be seen on the CAD. What I'll do is at the end of the ride we'll stop and take a look and see if it has worked itself loose again. Regarding all the other bolts, I didn't check, but nothing felt loose. This is the point I got a bit of mud flicked at my head. It stays there all the way through the ride. I didn't notice it, unfortunately. This is a sign for asparagus. Another quick note is that the sound quality of the next bit is bad, hence the voiceover. There was an on-off switch on one of the components that I failed to switch to on.
Oh, let's check. Yeah, so... Whoops. So now, how you can hear out of the mic, which I didn't turn on. Oops. I need a checklist. Camera on, next camera on, microphone on. Oh man. Oh dear. Whoops. Moving on. Alright, maybe I should actually go. That gets me back. I looked on a map beforehand, and yeah, I'm not sure that way goes anywhere. Oh, I keep saying with the mud guards, and I keep forgetting, but it's actually quite a... I don't know how difficult it would be. Adding them... Oh, wow. But just some sort of deflection might be good. So this is one of the very many ways of getting into Osterwieser, which I always manage to pronounce wrongly. And there's some cool geocaches there. It's back in the pandemic, and we didn't have anything else to do. We got a bit into geocaching. I'll point one out vaguely. I won't say exactly what it is. Someone put a lot of effort into it. I think the seat needs to go forward. I haven't got very long legs. And all the way forward. So I'm going to stop near the geocache and I'm going to try and adjust the seat. Without any tools. It should be doable without tools.
sliding bar. There is adjustment without tools, but there's a sliding piece that's screwed that gives more adjustment, and it's slid as far back as it can. So, we'll get through here. We'll head to the item thing, and then get off the track. Get off the road. And then do some modifications. Here's a change I could do though. That would, I think, give me a bit more speed. And we'll try it out anyway, why not? And that's to put the chain on the largest sprocket. Of course, what I should have done, or putting the chain on the largest sprocket at the front, is change gear at the back. Okay. 14 minutes. Although anyway. Oh wow. I was going to talk about that. I believe was an old windmill. A local landscape. Is it interesting? Rural. Very rural. Massive generalizations. You basically have two types. You've got the people who have lived here for ages and the people who've moved here because of house prices, me being the latter. And the people who have moved here are generally made to feel very welcome by the people who have previously lived here. Can't think of more than 1 or 2 cases in the 6 years where I felt not welcome. I think one of the things is, and that's an English-German kind of cultural thing, is eye contact. And you'll have, if somebody sees somebody and they'll make eye contact, and it can be construed by English people as aggressive, but it isn't. It's just, I'm interested in this situation. It shouldn't be construed as aggressive. It's taking an interest, and I think that's where a lot of the sort of misunderstandings come from, because in England you don't tend to make eye contact with people you don't know. This is coming up to the point where my wife rescued me along here. I got to this point and then the bike just gave up on me altogether. I'm amazed it got that far, to be honest. From a video perspective, that hasn't been all that long ago, but for me, that was back in November. It's May now. Bike feels great. Nothing sort of like loose or anything, so I need to do some experiment with types of washer and fifth fastenings and Loctite, because it's the point in the system that gets the most stress. This is voiceover Owen very quickly again, just to clarify that I'm talking about the angle in the central beam of the trike. Okay, carry on. And I very cleverly put a weak point in it. But on the other hand, it's kind of integral to the design. You need, at some point somewhere, you need an angle in it, because otherwise it's a straight beam going from feet to rear wheels, and in this design, front wheels are smaller than rear wheel. If you had a straight beam, you'd kind of really have to have a small rear wheel as well. What I've done is I've taken the KMX design as a starting point, because you've got to start somewhere, and KMX bikes are pretty cheap and very robust. They're basis for electrified bike stuff. Because they are welding, it's a steel welded frame. I think some of the more expensive ones are aluminium, but generally steel welded frame. For the function that you're doing here, that's been so over-engineered at that point, which, why not? Steel is cheap. It's a balance between over-engineering and weight. I feel they've erred on over-engineering, but it means you can throw it down tracks and stuff like that. But because this is a no weld, it's always going to be a weaker point. So anyway, that needs to be the place where all the thought goes into now. And I'm happy with the jockey wheel. It seems to be behaving itself, hasn't moved, still seems tight because otherwise I'd have lost it. It's a 10mm steel tube,
with an M6 bolt running through it, and the M6 bolt goes into a nut and then you tighten it up. And then the jockey wheel is then free to slide up and down this 10mm diameter tube. It gives it a lot more flexibility when changing gear. The chain is skidding around up and down, left, right because of the derailleur. That gives a lot of flexibility. Two main points that need working on. Efficiency is good. Getting the thing so it can go 30 kilometers an hour on the flat is great. But first of all, the thing needs to be safe. You take it out of the house, out of the garden, out of the garage, put your tarpaulin off it. Ideally, if it is going to be left outside, and why not? I mean, bikes get left outside. This isn't a carbon fibre racer that needs to be kept warm and dry and cosseted. This is meant to be just a rough, tough, get it dirty, a three-wheeled trekking bike. It shouldn't be a problem getting it wet, but you know, either you make the seat out of vinyl so it doesn't suck up any water, which is horrible, or you have what I've got here, which is mesh with foam inside it, and then it goes inside and the bike can stay outside. And then what I've been doing is also I've been spraying it with Windex with window cleaner just to stop it from smelling quite so much, just because obviously I'm sweating because I'm doing work. So yeah, I'm just taking it off, giving it a quick spray. I'm not sure if it's washing machine washable. I doubt it. I mean, come on. It's a bit of an ask. The guy did a really good job on the seat, but come on, this is a cottage industry. Yeah, I think it was around about here that I broke down last time. Maybe I've already gone past it. Anyway, it was very nice of my wife to rescue me. I very much appreciated it. It is great weather for this. It's not sunny, but I'm fine. It's not raining, there's wind. I feel really good. The only thing where I could ask for something a bit different is the fact my seat's too far back. And I'm sort of like hanging on the edge of my seat. I'm ready, hey. It's not quite as comfortable as it could be. Oh, she's just overtake. Or, you know, do 130. That works. I'm kind of glad I'm on the cycle path at the moment, because everybody absolutely kind of like desperate to get their Sonntagsbrötchen before the baker closes. It's like, oh, I gotta get that. Or it could be people working. It could be the case as well. It's very privileged of me to think it's everybody going to get Sonntagsbrötchen. When you're in the right gear to get across here, because the aforementioned 130 kilometers an hour ones, that's not cool if I get wiped out in a blind corner here. So, something coming behind, but it seems a long way away. We're good to go. I was looking on some old maps of Scheeze back 1900s or so, up to the First World War, and this was the main road out of Scheeze. There's the industry area that we're coming up to, but the train track in 1908 or something, I think the map was from, train track was there. It was a 2-track railway going from Bremen to Hamburg. But anyway, sorry, this was the main road out, and yeah, it carried on straight on, and then it did a wiggle, and I don't think it went under. From what I can see on the map, it didn't go under the railway, it went over the railway, like as a level crossing, because you didn't get as many ICEs and heavy goods trains going along as often in the 1900s. I just find it kind of interesting, the fact that the railway formed the road and then stuff came up round it. We'll take a right here. Gears should be pretty simple, but there is a run of cable to get from the shifter on. It's on my right hand side. I think the best bet is to keep it similar to a bicycle, so that if shifting happens on having the rear view mirror on the left, because it's not a big mirror. What I'm going to do is, this will be another video, but is find a hill, which is not a given around here. I'll cycle to there, I roll down the hill, cycle back up the hill, take some measurements of where the wheels are, and then do some changes and then do it again. So I'm going to stop here, change a little bit, loosen those up first, and then we can, there we go, back. Oh yeah, oh, slightly weird. Yeah, get across them in the wrong gear. Oh, did I tighten the seat? No. That's much nicer. You're meant to kind of have your legs like not going, like, oh, I forgot. Hang on. Oh, there's a couple of other bolts. Quick releases on the seat. Yeah, the quick releases on the seat hadn't been tightened up, and that's why it was feeling a little bit wobbly. With regard to issues, I need to make a note of the fact that last week when I got back, I realised the bolts were loose, because that was no great distance over anything bumpy either. I'm guessing if whatever made the bolts undo last ride, almost certainly going to have happened this ride. We'll go have a little investigate and see if the bolts, there's a bench coming up. We'll take a little look, see if it's loose. I'm guessing it's like the twisty motions that you do if you have these wheels sort of like going like that, and the back wheel kind of ought to follow, but then I need to follow too. I need to follow sort of like sideways. If these are sort of going sideways, I'm actually on the other side. Now I'm halfway. One of the mounts is on this beam here, one of the mounts is on the back beam. Back onto the mount behind me, and that's connected to the other beam. Okay, let's get an Allen key out again. Get you off the mount. So have a quick feel. Oh, they're all right. They're nice. Yeah, nice. They're feeling good. Oh, no. Okay, I think from that, establish steel good, nylon bad. Deformation happening there. It's looking a bit very cheap jockey wheels. Yeah, they're pretty cheap. Well, on the other hand, this is the thing, they're the nastiest bearings I've ever seen. They look like they've been put in with a hammer and chisel. The metal protective covering on them had just been sort of like smashed right in. They were just, but who cares? If this was 10,000 euros, you definitely want a nice jockey wheel. And this is one of the reasons I haven't done anything on the bike. I was working and I was cycling to work from the train, which was actually quite nice. It was about 1.5 miles, 3 kilometres. Bought myself a little second-hand folding bike, which is like the nerdiest, crappiest little folding bike you could ever imagine. It's really good because you just leave it outside places and people are like, no, I'm not stealing that, no chance. And fine, it's the last mile principle. Get there. And had a few problems with that. The chain kept jumping, and then my dad actually suggested, hey, have you tried pulling the wheel out to tension the chain? Of course, the mountain bike generation, who's grown up, I had a BMX. No, I tell you, I had a BMX when I was 8, which had a fixed back wheel and no gears. But like since that, I've had kind of mountain bikes, and of course mountain bikes have derailleurs, and derailleurs take up the slack in the system. Like always, that's what they do. I haven't really had any kind of experience of a bike that doesn't have a derailleur. Yeah, he said, well, have you tried pulling the chain to give it some tension? I was like, no, I didn't. So I pulled the wheel backwards and tensioned the chain, and since then I haven't had any problems anymore. I was like, oh.
That was a pretty obvious one that I should have picked up on that one, but thank you for that, Dad. Appreciate that. Folding bike. In Germany there is a thing called the Deutschland ticket, and the Deutschland ticket means that you can do local trains, of which the one that went past is one. It's a local train. Sometimes it comes on time. Most of the time it doesn't, but sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't come at all. So the Deutschland ticket is 49 euros or so, or you can get it a bit cheaper through your work, and that allows you unlimited travel by train. And then you get yourself a folding bike, and you don't pay an additional fee for the bike, because otherwise you pay to take the bike on board. But if you buy yourself a crappy little folding bicycle, then you can take it as luggage, and it's free. Of course, you offset the fact that the train quite often doesn't turn up. It's like once every 1 in 5 times at least the train does something weird, like doesn't turn up or is late or loses out priority to an ICE. The local train has to wait, and the ICEs can thunder through. I'll sign off now, and hopefully I'll do another video next week. Until then.